Welcome to Pearlmania 500, the only podcast where a husband and wife both do research on a topic, then sit across from each other and lovingly look each other in the eyes. Give me your hand. Give me your hand right now. Hold my hand. Hold my hand. I want to tell you something.
Okay.
I know I've already told you once before.
I know.
But every day I've loved telling you this.
Okay.
Henry Kissinger is fucking dead.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's right. Fuck you, Henry Kissinger. Fuck you forever. I'm so glad you're dead, you rotten piece of shit. You should not have been allowed to live to be 100. Every day someone should have pissed in your soup, and I hope they fucking did. And I know a lot of our listeners are like, Alex, are you going to do an episode about Henry Kissinger? Absolutely not. No, if you want to listen to that, listen to Behind the Bastards. They did a 6-part episode with the guys from the Dollop.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite things I've ever listened to.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It goes into full detail. It covers the life and history of war crimes that man committed.
They actually didn't even get all of them.
No, they didn't.
In 6 episodes.
In
They still couldn't get all of it.
They still missed. They missed so many war crimes, and that is literally like.
I think there's still war crimes happening, right? Like they said that there's so many bombs that are hidden that people still get blown up to this day accidentally.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's been our cold open.
Oh shit!
Fuck you, Henry Kissinger. And now, Mrs. P, are you ready?
No.
Okay, because this is our live season finale.
Pew, 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 pew.
There's a place where you can't stay when the world gets too insane. Yeah, when the world gets too inane, tune in to Pearlmania. Brony talks and pony jars and saying that sonic race just fitness scams and grifters, damn, and various other miscellanea. So where's this place where you can stay to let those Pearlmans save ya? Pearlmania, Pearlmania, Pearlmania 500. Whoosh. Take it away, Pearlmans, and remember to smile.
Thank you so much to His Name Was Dusk, as always, for that amazing theme song. I just want to say he and I talk regularly, every couple episodes. He tells me what we're doing good.
And what we're doing poorly. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he does. He does. And, we've had talks with about a few other people, but he has been really great. And we love all the music that he's made for us. Guys, please make sure you go to the show notes and check out the links to his website. He's very proud that he made it.
Yeah.
We have Pearlmania500.net, which just links directly to the Patreon.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this week with a glut.
A glut?
A glut.
What did you do?
Hey Huns. So the last episode.
Yeah.
The last episode we may have mentioned that we added a new stretch goal.
Yeah.
And people came running from the hills
Yeah.
for this stretch goal. We said if we hit 750 Patreons,
Yep.
that we would read book 2.
We is not the right word.
That I
There
would
it
read
is.
book 2. And I will do that. But again, I do want to state one thing. Patreon recently made a change where it allows people to follow a page for free.
Oh.
And so if you look at our page, it looks like we're at 690.
Oh.
We're not. We're actually closer to like 540
Okay.
of paid Patreon members.
Got it.
Free people who follow, we love you. That's great. That's
Yeah, absolutely.
awesome. You're not going to see really any content, though, because
Yeah.
almost every content I post onto Patreon or that we allow for things like ad-free listenings, things like voting on future episodes, things like special announcements, and even some random images for whenever I go on one of my weird trips, like to the White House or shit like that. All of that is for paid members only.
Yeah.
And with that, we want to give a big shout out here on the 2023 Episode 46, season finale.
46?
This is 46, not counting book clubs.
Insane.
Not counting book clubs.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, not counting book clubs.
What the
It's
heck?
so wild.
What did we do?
Well,
When did we do that? When did we have time?
let me tell you something. Somebody messaged us because we got so many messages from people that we were in their Spotify Wraps.
Oh, yeah.
for
so
top
many.
podcasts, and
it was wonderful.
It was honestly pretty great. We've had some recent meetings with people talking about the podcast and like what we can do better and what we can improve on.
Yeah.
Analytics and such. And, they were nice, but they're like, yeah, you could do this better. You could do this better. It was a lot of what we could do better and not what we've done well.
Yeah.
So having so many of you message us that we were in your top 5 or number 1, one person messaged me and they're like, I'm your top 0.5% listener, and they had over 12,000 minutes listened.
Oh my God, that means that we recorded 12,000 minutes?
I think, and that's not counting the amount of minutes we spent researching. That's not counting the amount of minutes I spent setting up the studio.
Yo,
the
that's
amount of
wild.
minutes that we were going through our Patreon comments, all this
my
different
God.
stuff. So we've spent,
That's so funny.
yeah, we probably spent like 20,000 minutes on this thing this year.
Yeah. Well, this episode is a celebration of this year of us creating this podcast.
And specifically one bitch in particular. We're going to get to that. So let's keep the celebration rolling, though.
Yeah.
Okay? And by doing that is we're going to come in here and we will welcome our Hey Huns team leads and maybe even a Fed or two.
Hey, hon, let's meet our team leaders.
If this is your first time listening to the episode, I don't know why you'd pick the season finale, but if it is,
I just like closings.
Yeah. We're gonna give a shout out to everyone who are new Patreon sign-ups. So anybody did the $3 Hey Hun or the $5 team lead, that we appreciate you guys so much. So let's go ahead. We have a ton to go through.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, and when we hit 750 paid Patreons, I'll read the second horny fairy book. First, we have Sir Beards a lot.
Hey, hun.
I like that. It makes me think of what's that show? The soccer show, Coach Beard.
Oh.
From Apple TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
what you're talking about. With the happy guy, the nice
Yeah,
guy.
I can't believe I'm blanking on it. Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
The next one automatically is so long I have
love
to.
it.
Oh my
Perfect.
God.
You _half_2 _read _ second _book Tamlin's not my hero.
I do appreciate the strong opinions about this book series.
Everyone fucking hates Tamlin.
I didn't know there'd be so many strong feelings about Tamlin and the rice guy.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm here for it.
Our next shout out goes to Vanessa Destroy.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have Peachius _honey.
Hey, hun.
After that, now, okay, does this say Allie or Ally?
That's
A-L-L-Y.
Allie, I think.
Allie, okay. Allie C-W.
Hey, Allie.
After that, we have Marcus Hilarious.
Hey, hun.
That's funny because in the pre-recorded episodes that we'll have coming out at the beginning of next year, while
Yep.
we're on family leave, we do an episode about Marcus Aurelius's son.
Yep.
And it has a very special guest. Mm-hmm. And you guys will hear all about that probably in late,
I don't know, whenever.
I want to say like late February. After that, we have Kel Mack.
Hey, hun.
After that, it's another long one. I got to click on it.
Oh, yeah, got
After
him.
that, we have Mrs. _Peas _heavenly _deviled _eggs.
Let's go.
Yep. All right.
I've been tagged a lot in some deviled egg TikToks,
Yep.
and it's been a blessing and a curse. I want to be honest. I've seen some weird things.
Okay, so this next one's in Greek.
Okay.
I don't know how to read Greek. I'm going to say it says epica.
Perfect.
Because that's what that looks like, but those are literally Greek letters.
It's all Greek to me, baby.
And I don't want to.
Let's go. Hey, hun.
The next one is how many Patreons to read all of, and then fuck you for this. A _C _O _T _A _R.
Yeah.
How many Patreons to read all
I
of
don't know.
Akatar?
We'll have to figure it out as we go.
Listen,
it depends on how it goes through the next book.
Yeah, it
Everybody's
really,
saying that the next book is super sexy and that it's going to ruin soup. So
Yeah.
I'm really concerned.
yeah, it's super.
No.
After that, we have Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am.
Hey, hun.
It's actually Wham Bam TY Ma'am, but I understood because I know how to read Leet Speak.
Wow.
You don't even know what that is.
I don't.
That's when back in the day when you play computer games and like you wanted to type really fast, sometimes you'd mix like combination of letters and numbers together.
Isn't that just dyslexia?
After that, we have Danny RG.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have Autumn _Dawn.
Hey, Autumn _Dawn. Two awesome times of the day
It's a
year.
great time. You know what? An early morning autumn.
Yeah.
You know what?
Let's go.
After that, this next one, next person messaged me and let me know that they listened to this podcast with their long distance partner,
Okay.
and then they talk about it.
Nice.
And they wanted their partner to hear this through the shout out.
Yeah.
So Jessica loves Roman.
Oh, hey, hun. We love love. Except for our
Aw.
own.
Roman, I'm going to warn you. I'm going to warn you, Roman. You got a good one there. After that, we have Linz.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have, okay, fuck you. I'm going to say it.
Do it. I can see it from here. Do it.
Hugh
Uh-huh.
Janus.
Perfect. Hang on.
Above this, we had Jessica loves Roman. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole backstory, and then huge anus.
Yeah, love it. Hang on.
After that, we have college student working hard for the Pennsylvania parasocial podcast Pearl Parents.
Let's go. I love alliteration.
We appreciate that so much. They also messaged us to let us know that we were in their top 5 for Spotify,
Nice.
and I think they were in the top 2%.
Perfect.
Of listeners with like 4,000 minutes listened, which is still, again,
Crazy. I love it.
crazy. It's so wild. Like, I can't stress to everyone, like, we've had a meteoric rise this year when it comes to like listeners and this podcast and TikTok and all these different things. And there's times where you like forget because you're like, used to, line goes up, line goes up, line goes up. And you're like, I don't know, it's Thanksgiving, there's holidays. We're not really going into it so much. And so getting so many people reaching out to be like, oh my God, you've been the thing.
Also, just because like in our regular schmegular day-to-day life,
Yeah.
it doesn't come up as much. Like
No.
people like aren't like our family doesn't talk to us about the podcast.
No one
or,
talks
like,
to us about the podcast.
Like it's like only like once in a while my dad will have seen one of your TikToks from one of his employees will
Yep.
have showed it to him and be like, isn't this your son-in-law?
Yeah.
Like, so it's we don't like hear about it except from the positive feedback that we get this, and then like that then it also puts it into perspective because I'm like, I can't believe we recorded this many hours of
I know.
content
Well, and then there's
because we were just doing it. We weren't stopping to think about
I've
it.
only ever had one person in real life ever actually be like, oh, I mean, besides like random people we've run into like at my shows and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which have happened this year, but people we've known pre-podcast,
Pre-podcast.
who have like they turned out like, oh yeah, no, I listen to your podcast. Like, okay, like 2 hours. Like that's it. That's all I've gotten. You really think it's worth 2 hours? Yes, I do. And in fact, thousands of people think it's worth 2 hours every week. All right. Up next, we have finally _joined _for _horny _fairy _books _let's _go.
Let's go. I there's a Venn diagram that exists of ACOTAR fans and making you have to say the underscore, and I love that.
They're really getting me.
Yeah.
After that, we have uneasy breezy.
Hey, hon.
Cover girl. I love it. After that, we have
Ooh, wait, chicken and dumpling soup. Something.
I can see. I have to click on it because they're so big.
Ooh.
Chicken _and _dumpling _soup _season. Now
Facts,
here's the thing.
facts.
Here's the
Chicken
thing.
and dumpling
yes,
soup is
I will
so
agree.
good.
I completely agree.
So good.
But knowing that the horny fairy book is out there,
Yeah.
and that there's something weird with soup in that second book,
No, but I thought
this
they said,
could be coded.
But I thought they said it was canned soup that they ruined.
I don't know.
You
I
can't
don't
get
know.
chicken dumpling from a can.
Yes, you can.
No, absolutely not.
I've eaten
That's
in front of you.
gross.
I know it is, and
That's
I've eaten in front of
disgusting.
you, and you've spit in my face over that.
Yeah, well.
After that, we have Ambalam.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have Primantis _side _pickle.
Hey, hun.
After
That's the
that,
pickle man.
it might be the pickle man, and his love of cocaine and snot rockets. After that, we have pre_potato _bog _body.
Hey, hun.
Pre-potato bog body. I like it.
Yeah.
This next person messaged me and just told me that they are a big fan and that they can't wait to run into us someday at Tattooed Moms on South Street in Philadelphia. After that, so we have Machiavelli and Cheese.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have Allie Lizard.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have who?
Perfect. Hey, hun.
I love it. It's one of my favorite fucking.
He has to scroll to the right. It's so long. Oh my God. Do it.
Okay.
You can't, you gotta just do it.
Put _this _towards _postpartum _sushi _and _hoagies _for _misses _Pearlmania _500 _its _federal _law _now _so _you _half _2.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. Heen is keenly aware that there better be sushi trays and hoagies
Yes.
ready for me.
Yes.
From
And
Jersey Mike's, because Jersey Mike's does the gluten-free rolls
Yes.
real well.
yeah, you hear that, Jersey Mike's? Maybe you want to throw a little sponsorship this way. And Wegman Sushi.
Yeah, Wegman
because they are
Sushi.
gluten-free as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we will put.
I'm going to hand him a baby,
Your-
and then he's going to hand me sushi
Your
and a
Patreon
hoagie.
money will be going towards a sushi tray and a hoagie
No,
tray.
way more than one sushi tray.
Oh, and that's a Fed.
That's
That was a
Fed
Fed tier.
Fed tier. It's why
That
it's
was a
government
fucking Fed tier.
approved.
This is
You
is
have to do
federal.
it.
Oh my God, I'm seeing it all now. You know what?
You can't argue with the
honestly,
feds.
honestly, I want to apologize to our next Patreon because they have to follow that. Let's hear it for Megan.
Megan.
After that, we have Octavia B.
Hey, hon.
After that, we have BB Bridgie.
Hey, BB Bridgie.
After that, we have Violent Night.
No, oh my God.
We
Okay,
just watched
we
it.
just watched it. It was so good. Anyway, I love crazy Christmas movies.
I love that. Listen, the rise of slasher Christmas has been good because I don't like horror movies that much. I don't like slasher movies. However, when you make a Christmas themed, I don't care, and it's fine. I can accept it.
Listen, the time I made him watch Krampus, when the cookies come alive and they're using the nail gun.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And then sorry.
Okay, we still got so much more. After that, we have lame_Impala69. After that, we have Boonerooney.
Boonerooney, hey, hon.
After that, we have Kelsey Gregg.
Hey, hon.
And finally, the last Patreon for 2023
All right.
has come in the Fed tier.
Okay.
Let's hear it, everybody, for Wes the Fed.
Let's go. I feel like that person might actually be part of the federal government.
He could be.
Wes the Fed.
But let's hear it one more time for all of our 2023 Hey Huns, team leads, and feds.
Hey, let's meet our team leaders.
All right, Mrs. P, we that was our longest ever Patreon read, I think.
Who knows?
I feel like, well,
I don't know.
We had so many good people in there.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of new listeners are coming in here specifically today because we are going to cover our main topic. So we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, I have in front of me
All right.
51 lies and crimes
Okay.
by George, a.k.a. so many other names, Santos. As of today, former Congressman George Santos. So when we return, we will get into him.
Pearlmania, 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 Pearlmania 500.
So I think it's important to note about George Santos,
Okay.
and his many names,
Yeah.
is that it's quite clear to everyone in the world who's ever met him at this point,
Okay.
that George Santos is a pathological liar.
Yes.
Right? I
That's
think
his
it's
thing.
clear. And it was funny because I started looking up like pathological liar and like in the American Psychologist Handbook and all those different things. Like, what does that mean? And there's actually like an argument right now about pathological lying.
Okay.
About whether or not it's its own thing or if it's a segment of other things.
Oh.
So like some people, might start lying pathologically because of trauma or because of other things. Like they might not just be lying to lie. But with George, it really does feel like, bitch, stop. Like there's so many things that he's lied about on camera. It gets crazy.
Yeah.
But when I looked up pathological lying, the thing that actually caught me off guard was that is a new term. Mm-hmm. Like our whole life has been called pathological lying.
Yeah.
But when you go back in psychology, it was called at one point pseudologia fantastica.
Oh, right.
Which means fantastic pseudology. And then I was like, what's pseudology? And I looked up, it's the studying of lying or the art or science of lying.
There it
and I
is.
was like, George is a scientist when
He's
it comes
a scientist of lying.
Yeah. Or honestly, scientists make me think of chefs, right? Because you're following formulas, you're following recipes. George is a line cook of lying. But the other one...
Also, I would argue that if we're following your train of thought, not a chef, a baker.
A baker.
Baker's much more scientific than chef.
Yeah. Okay. The other side of it, though, is that there's a different term that was also used.
Okay.
Mythomania.
Mythomania?
Yeah,
that sounds like a
mythomania.
con you would go to.
I know. It sounds so good, and I am kind of obsessed with it. Mythomania.
Yeah.
So just when you think of it, because again, they just can't stop making myths about everything. And I don't know, I'm sure that you have, through your travels, you've met pathological liars in your life.
Oh, yeah, I had to travel far.
You had to travel far. And I remember the first pathological liar that I met that other people started calling him a pathological liar.
Oh, okay.
He was this guy who used to go to to the same karate school as me. And he was a little bit older. And he eventually got me a job at my first restaurant. I was working as a busboy, and he was a line cook.
Yeah.
But he also did karate. And I remember the head chef being like, fuck that guy. He lies about fucking everything. Like, if I told you I went to a Bruce Springsteen concert, an hour later, he'll tell you a story about how he saved Bruce Springsteen's hat from falling into a canal.
Yeah, of course.
And then, like, that defined it for me.
Yeah.
It was just whatever it is, they have to one up. There always has to be. Everything has to be heightened.
I remember the first gal that I ever met that was like that. In high school, she sat next to me in when I went to high school, everything was in alphabetical order. So basically, you ended up sitting near the same people every class for all 4 years of high school because it goes by your last name.
Yeah.
And so there's one woman who was always behind me, who for our whole lives, hilariously, we still are in contact because she's like friends with the family. But the person that would always be like kind of in front of me or next to me was a pathological liar. And her stories were so crazy that like it's like I wanted to believe them, but she would come in and tell like these elaborate tales about like how she was auditioning for the New York Ballet that weekend. And then she'd bring in like a headshot that was clearly a picture of, oh my God, my pregnancy brain is so bad right now. That actress from when we were younger that all the boys loved, Jennifer with the boobs. Love Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt, yes.
It was a picture of Jennifer Love Hewitt doing ballet. And I was like, this is not you. This is Jennifer Love Hewitt. But she's like showing it around the class. I mean, like, this is, I just got my headshots done because I'm trying out for the New York Ballet. And I'm like, what? Like, but it was like every day, every Monday was a new thing that happened that weekend forever. Yeah. And it was my first introduction to someone who like really was delusional and they're lying.
So George Santos, he was expelled from Congress this week.
Congratulations.
The sixth person in the history of the United States to be expelled from the United States House of Representatives this way.
Yeah, too many demerits.
Most people who were expelled from the Congress were due to the Civil War, and most of those were senators.
Yeah.
George Santos is also the first Republican expelled this way. Because remember, during the Civil War, most of those senators and Congress people that were expelled were Democrats.
Yeah.
Because Democrats controlled the South before the flip. So George is the first. He covers so many firsts.
Yeah.
But let's wind back a little bit and see how we got here.
Okay.
Because it's important because the amount of lies and what he did is so crazy on so many levels, but also so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it's not interesting. Like, when you think of a con man, you want to think movie, TV con man where, it's wheels within wheels. With George, it really is just like stupid after stupid after stupid. Like how he really bungled his way into becoming a congressperson, much like the movie / musical The Producers.
Okay.
Like this is I want to stress that the story of George Santos and the movie The Producers by Mel Brooks are virtually the same fucking story.
Yeah.
So in 2002, George Santos was elected in the 2022 midterms to represent a New York district. All right. It's a Long Island district. I think it's New York Congressional District 3. He defeated a Democrat who was running. The Democrat's name was Robert Zimmerman. Now, I had to look that up twice to reconfirm. Okay. Because Robert Zimmerman is also Bob Dylan's real name. So I was like, are we lying already that he beat Bob Dylan? Like, so I was already like, I had to recollect. So a lot of places list this as a once blue district. Okay. But that's leaving out something major, which is in 2020, we had the United States Census. And after that, each state redrew their maps. So this district, depending on census maps, has both changed shape and flipped between Republican and Democrats basically about every 10 years. Okay. Because it's whoever's in charge cuts this district in a certain way. Yeah. This district was cut in the way it was cut to make sure a Republican would probably more likely win it, solely so that way the Democrats could control the rest of New York. So in this case, he won the election. George Santos won 145,000 votes to Rob Zimmerman's 125,000 votes. It's a difference about 20,000. The final percentages is 53.74% for George Santos and 46.22% for Robert Zimmerman. So George Santos is elected. Now, Robert Zimmerman was not the incumbent. He was a new guy. Mm-hmm. The incumbent from the prior election, because this was George's second election. Oh. In 2020, George Santos ran for the same district. He ran against a man named Thomas Suozzi. So Suozzi. Santos lost that election. All right. But it was the first election in 2020, and this is very important because the reason Santos was the nominee is because no one else wanted to do it. No one fucking cared.
Yep.
And COVID hit.
Yep.
So everyone's looking around because one thing that happens a lot, especially with losing areas, at that point in 2020, the seat was cut in a way that it was safe for a Democrat.
Yeah.
So Susie is looking around and they're like, who are they going to run? The Republicans, the Long Island Republicans, usually are very strict about who gets to run. Mm-hmm. And when it came to this district, like, whoever wins is going to fucking lose. Then COVID hits. They're like, does anyone else want to do this? No. And then they look and there's one name in the box.
Yeah.
So George, by default, became the Republican nominee. He lost that election. Mm-hmm. He received 161,907 votes, while Thomas Susie received 208,412 votes. So that's the difference, about 47,000. So it's almost a complete flip from the prior election.
Yeah.
Now, that's important to note because, again, Santos received 62,000 votes in the election he lost. In the election he won, he received 146,000.
I did notice that.
So that's a huge shift in like how this also a presidential year versus a non-presidential year, yada, yada.
Blah, blah, blah.
One thing to note is that when Thomas Susie ran against George Santos, he did not spend any money on opposition research.
Okay.
Because he knew he was going to win.
Yeah.
He looked around and he said, I'm going to win. And after doing 2 events with Santos, where they were both there as both being nominees for their respective parties,
Yeah.
Thomas realized, hey, this guy's a fucking fraud and a phony and a con man.
Yeah.
So he's not going to win. But also, he's such a con man, I don't want to give him any publicity.
Yeah.
Even negative. So he didn't waste any money on doing any opposition research at all. And this is important in politics because in opposition research, people will put together literally binders of information on you. They go to like page 4 of Google.
Yeah.
It gets crazy. Some recent races and elections that I've like dabbled in and volunteered and stuff like that, I've got to see some oppo books. And y'all, it gets nuts. There is a certain level of opposition research, though, is once you start like, it's what is actually going to end up being believable by the general public, because we've heard so many lies about people at this point. So Santos I don't know how much of his opposition research would have actually worked on the public.
Yeah.
Santos, though, the reason why he was still the nominee in 2022 was because he actually impressed a lot of Republicans in 2020.
Okay.
Because he went and he did phone banking at Mar-a-Lago. He hobnobbed with the right people. He had this kind of okay resume and was able to really get along well at parties. And he was able to raise a lot of money. Now, that last part is immediately where we are starting off with the lies. Because he would tell people that he raised all this money, and then they'd turn and look at the campaign finance reports, and like, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. Like, this is so easily verifiable. He'd be like, I raised $20,000. They're like, you raised $10.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, you raised $10. So that's kind of where it starts. And the reason why Santos became the number one poster boy of lying is in December 19th, 2022. After he wins election, the New York Times finally researched him.
Yeah.
And started to discover everything this man has ever said is a lie. And that's where we're going to start off. So the first lie that the New York Times really picked up was that Santos, and I have 51 lies here.
Yeah.
It's 51 lies.
Are we doing all of them? This is going to be really long.
We're going to go very fast through them.
Okay.
So we're going to start out with, I think it's like 30-some lies, and they're mostly claims.
You know what I love? I have to just say this out of the gate. Is that like, okay, you know me. I don't like liars, and I am deeply uncomfortable with dishonesty in like so many aspects of my life. But like also, it's because even when I was younger, if I did lie about something, I hated having to like remember the lie to like, because you have to like triangulate and like you have to remember the lie so that if you meet this person and you said that and like, so like I can't be dishonest because I find it so fucking overwhelming.
Well, right now you really can't because you can't remember shit because of pregnancy brain.
But like, no, let me finish. So like the idea that this man doesn't even have like that thought process of like, I got to keep track of these lies. I gotta make sure that party A and party B don't find out about these lies. Like, nope. He doesn't. He just says it and goes, and that's insanity to me. I like that's the biggest thing that I can't wrap my head around is like the fact that he just lies and then doesn't try to follow it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's crazy.
So we'll start off with lie number one. He claimed he graduated summa cum laude
Right.
with a 3.89 GPA from Baruch College. Baruch College has no record of him.
Perfect.
He also claimed he graduated from New York University. New York University has no record of him.
Great.
He also claimed that his parents sent him to Horace Mann Prep School in the Bronx, which is like a really upscale, no record of him.
Yep.
He claimed, this is now okay, so right off the bat, where he's already lying about school. So
Listen.
like to this day, we don't know where he went to school.
If he went to school.
And I want to actually state this at the top. There's two things about Santos that are going to be frustrating. Number one, Santos is openly gay.
Okay.
Okay. And number two, he is either an immigrant or the child of immigrants.
Sure.
All of these things can be used by bad people in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to state this now. I'm actually not sure that George Santos is a actual legal citizen of the United States.
Huh.
I don't know. And we'll get into that.
Okay.
All right. Number 4. Santos claimed he was a volleyball star in college.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
And that he slayed both the Harvard and Yale teams. Exact
Did he
words.
say-
he said he
slayed
slayed
it?
them.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
So here's the problem.
This is another problem. Is what sometimes he says things and you're just like, icon.
I know. So here's the problem. He claimed he was a volleyball star at Baruch College.
Yeah.
Baruch does not play against Harvard and Yale.
Okay, great.
This claim, though, appears to be taken directly from the resume of his former boss.
Oh my God, yes.
Because he did work at Linkbridge Investors, and his boss was Pablo Oliveira, who was an All-American volleyball player at Baruch.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so like he just like
Collect resumes and then pick what you
Yeah.
want and add it to your own.
yeah, and then add to that even
I
more.
might say, this is not a suggestion. It's just a thought I had once.
Yeah.
That maybe you just put whatever you want on your resume and nobody checks.
Everyone used to work for Twitter now. It doesn't matter. I famously said that to the point where it ended up in Snopes.
Yeah.
He claimed this is number 5.
Okay.
Santos claimed that he sacrificed both of his knees
I'm sorry, what?
and got 2 very nice knee replacements
Oh my God, at his young age?
because how much volleyball he played.
Oh.
So the volleyball lie has now gone to I had double knee replacement.
Double knee replacement because of all the volleyball.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just because of the volleyball. That's why he
Dang.
needed the new knees.
Bionic.
He claimed he worked for Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, neither of which have any record.
Yeah. I'm going to check his LinkedIn.
Yeah, the Goldman Sachs lie reaches as far back as 2017, where he made that claim under oath to Kings County Superior Court Judge Sean O'Donnell while he was speaking in support of a family friend at that person's bail hearing.
Oh my God, that's so incredible.
Like he legit like couldn't even not lie about it to
Just
a judge.
committing perjury.
Yeah.
Outright.
And it wasn't even his trial.
He was
He was speaking as a friend. No, you can totally trust my friend. They should be released from custody. You believe me, I work at Goldman Sachs. What?
What? That doesn't make me believe you anymore.
At one point, Santos claimed that he was both Jewish
Okay.
and Ukrainian.
You could be both.
You can. In fact, I am.
Yeah.
And he also that Santos's historical family name was actually Zabrovsky,
All right.
which is one of his AKAs. One of his many.
Do I need to start writing down names?
So just so you know, it's George Anthony DeValder Santos is assumed to be his full name.
Okay.
Because he is going by George Santos. He's going by Anthony DeValder. He's going by George DeValder, George Zabrovsky. And like a combination of those 5 names is typically how that's his cipher
Yeah.
of how he makes these. He claimed he was biracial, specifically half black.
Oh, all right.
Because his family's from Brazil. There's no proof of that. He claimed that he was, in 2020, he claimed he was the first openly gay, sorry, in 2022, he claimed he was the first openly gay non-incumbent Republican elected to Congress. But he did divorce a woman in 2019, and we have record of that. I don't really know how that one kind of plays.
Wait a minute. He's saying because openly gay. I was like,
Yeah.
because that's just not factual.
Yeah, no, openly gay is his
Openly
big part.
but he was married to a lady, huh?
Yeah, in 2019. But that
wonder
could have
if-
been a green card marriage. So there's like a whole mix up
I
in
wonder
there.
if there's an NDA. I want her to break it.
Yeah. Well, she'll be able to soon. He's going to go to prison.
Yay.
He claimed he lived with his husband with his husband.
Okay.
Because he currently claims he's married.
Oh, all right.
There is no proof that this man exists.
Okay.
He claims he also has 4 dogs.
Oh, so his boyfriend goes to a different high school?
Yes.
Okay.
He claims he
The
lives
girl that sat next to me in high school had that.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
So he currently claims that he is married to a man and they have 4 dogs and they live all together in Long Island. Mm-hmm. There is no marriage record.
And there's no dogs?
If I know.
Don't you think paparazzi would have caught a picture of 4 dogs?
I feel like they
4
would have.
dogs is a lot of dogs.
He claimed, George Santos claimed that he had committed no crimes in Brazil.
Okay, I immediately
That's a lie.
I immediately think he committed crimes in Brazil
Yeah,
now.
because Brazilian prosecutors investigated him repeatedly for fraud. He claimed that his mother, George Santos's mother, was a white immigrant from Belgium, and that her family lived in Brazil for over a century. So, like, those are counteracting each other.
Yeah.
Like, he claimed to have he founded an animal charity
All right.
called Friends of Pets United.
Friends of Pets United.
Yes.
All right.
And this is a common grift of his.
The
We're gonna hear more.
FOP.
Yeah. FOPU, actually.
FOPU.
The FOPU.
Yeah.
It's not like the FUPA.
Well, I was thinking the Fraternal Order of Police.
Yeah. But anyway, there's no records for this. There's no official nonprofit records,
He's got
anything.
No
He
501c.
has a thing about grifting people, especially dealing with animals.
Oh, that's not good.
It's not good. He claimed he owned a number of rental properties. No proof. No proof that he's ever
Don't
been a
claim
landlord.
to be a landlord.
Yes,
Don't stolen valor landlording.
He claimed he was robbed of his rent money to one of his former roommates. He was behind on rent.
Okay.
And he claimed that he took it out in cash and was robbed on the way home.
Oh my God. Wait, hold on.
Which I had a roommate one time do that.
Okay, hold on. We're talking about this list of lies is so insane because the level of lying is so like we went from talking about pretending to work at one of the most high-powered companies ever to also just lying about that you didn't have money for rent. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Just every moment is a lie.
Yeah, no, there's legit every person he's met in his life has at least 5 to 6 lies.
Yeah.
So yeah, he claimed he was. So I did have a roommate who did that.
Yeah. Of course.
And they I was living in a place and rent was like their portion of rent was like $450 because this was 2008 and god damn it we had it better back then.
Oh my God.
It was $450 because it was $900 for this 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the money. He claimed he got robbed. I was like, that sucks. And then I covered it. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I got it because I had like a pretty good job working as a busboy actually.
Yeah.
And I had a good weekend. So I was like, I got it covered. You know, we'll work it out. You can pay a little bit more for the next couple months and then it'll even out.
Yeah.
And about 3 days later, he had a 1/4 pound of weed.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That's called having
rent.
a roommate in your 20s.
Yeah, I was like, there it is. There.
I was like,
it wasn't like a nickel bag. It was a lot of weed.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
what
was
the
just
fuck?
thinking I had a roommate a million years ago. This had to be like 2003. And she didn't have rent money the one time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I can cover it for you. Because we both worked at the same restaurant. So I was
Yeah.
like, whatever, I'll just pay the rent. And that night I got home and her boyfriend were doing the most drugs off of our table that I had ever seen. And I was
Yeah.
like, you got drug money, but you don't got rent money? And that's just part of your 20s, man.
Yeah, no, it is.
Just part of you.
Yeah,
Okay,
when you're the-
Santos, you get this one. I'm assuming you were in your 20s when this happened.
It feels like that. I feel like it was like their roommate from like 10, 15
Yeah.
years ago. He claimed that his mom died in 9/11.
Okay, that's a really fucked up lie.
She died in 2016.
What?
Yeah, she wasn't even involved in 9/11. I don't think she was even in Manhattan that day.
Oh my God. Okay.
Or Virginia or Pennsylvania, just to
Okay.
cover all the 9/11s, because there were 3 9/11s.
Yeah.
They all happened at the same time. He claimed, now this one's wild.
All right.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Because this one's going to take a turn. He claimed he was one of the first people in the United States to get COVID.
What? Why would you want that to be true?
So Semaphore investigated this.
Okay.
And according to metadata of photos of George Santos in a hospital gurney and of positive COVID testing at Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, this may actually be true. There is a possibility that George Santos might have been patient zero in New York.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What was he doing?
I don't know.
Where was he going?
He was probably just lying. The thing is like
He was out with his 4
he was
dogs.
probably just out sweaty, and they're like, he's like, I've been jogging. You clearly have a fever, you psycho. Anyway, he claimed to have voted on specific House bills.
Okay.
As a congressperson. But those bills were actually voted on before he was ever even sworn in.
Come on. Those are checkable.
I know. A lot of these are. He claimed his grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. Nope.
Wait. Belgium grandmother?
No. Remember, his mom was from Belgium, according to his lies.
That went to Brazil.
And that he's also Jewish. And that
And
his
Ukrainian.
grandmother, and Ukrainian. And that his
Okay.
grandma somehow survived the Holocaust.
Okay. But that's not true.
That's not true at all.
Okay.
Because his family was in Brazil. He claimed that he had personal employees, who died in the Pulse shooting in 2016 down in Florida.
What?
Yeah, he wanted to get that anti-Muslim money.
Oh my God.
Because a big part of this also is him leaning in, especially in Long Island. A lot of his lies, if you actually track them back far enough, that a lot of them are just very anti-Muslim.
Oh, okay.
So, like, the Pulse shooting was done by a Muslim man.
Yeah.
Him being Jewish is, again, to lean into that more. The 9/11 lies, all these different things. As you start to string them together, he claimed his mom, whose name is Fatima DeVolder, worked at the World Trade Center on 9/11. Again,
Not
she
true.
wasn't even in the country at the time. And she hadn't been in the country since 1999, and she didn't apply for a visa until 2003. He claimed to raise money... blew right past that one. He claimed that he didn't have any money for his mom's funeral.
Okay.
So he petitioned a Catholic church. Specifically, he petitioned a man named Father Jose Carlos de Silva of St. Rita's Catholic Church in Long Island City. They helped cover the funeral costs by passing around a collection plate for that purpose during Mass. They don't have a total of how much money was raised, because that was just handed directly to George.
Yeah.
After the funeral, he just went skiing with the money in the Poconos.
Okay. The Poconos.
He took his mom's funeral money and went to the Poconos.
What? Oh my God.
He claimed on a show called The Loud Majority that he has, quote, very extensive role in gas and oil in this country, and that he helped develop carbon capture technology thanks to his many trips to Moscow.
What?
Yeah, he claimed that he's an oil baron too.
Oh my God.
Like,
Okay.
it's just
This is an incredible resume.
it's insane. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
He claims he's 6'2".
Okay. Listen. Lies.
He is barely taller than Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz, we know, is 6'7". Excuse me,
Okay.
is 5'7".
5'7".
Yeah, we know Matt Gaetz is 5'7". You know why we know that?
Let's hold hands.
Because Matt Gaetz has been arrested and booked. So we have Matt Gaetz' exact measurement.
And so soon, when he gets arrested in like the coming weeks, they're gonna have his height and they're gonna publish it.
Yeah. So
and it's
he's
gonna be
he's-
5'5".
He's probably 5'8" in heels.
Well, he's definitely in heels.
Yeah. He claimed on a Brazilian podcast that he was the victim of an attempted assassination.
Okay.
He claimed on that same podcast that his home in Florida was vandalized because of his political affiliation,
That's
being
not
a
true.
gay Republican. Yeah.
That's not true.
I don't think he actually has a home in Florida.
I don't think so either.
He claimed on that same Brazilian podcast that he was mugged in New York
Okay.
while he was leaving his office on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, at 3 p.m. in the afternoon,
This is never
in the middle of the street.
Okay.
And they took his briefcase, watch, and shoes.
No.
And that this was witnessed by his imaginary husband.
Okay.
And that the two men that mugged him, quote, weren't black, they were even white.
What's that even mean?
I don't know.
Also, okay, I need to tell you something about getting mugged. When you get mugged, it's always on some offshoot street. It's always like somewhere
It's to the
nobody
side.
is.
It's always to the side.
It's always in some weird extreme hour of the day when there's not a lot of people around. It's not 3 p.m. on one of the busiest streets in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? And they took your shoes?
They took his shoes and his briefcase.
Get out
And
of
his
here.
watch.
No. Okay. No.
Number 28. He claimed that he had a cancerous brain tumor, but then he got better.
Well, that That one's true. Because like, what if the tumor's pushing on some part of his
on
brain?
the lying part?
On the lying part.
It's like
I just watched what was the show I was watching on Ion last night? The cop show I was watching on Ion last night, where it's like, it's not Law and Order.
Criminal Minds?
Criminal Minds, yes. I was watching Criminal Minds last night.
This baby is wrecking your brain.
And the whole episode was this guy was like murdering women because his wife left him, but he went crazy because he had a tumor pushing on his brain in the weird way. So what if Santos just has a tumor and this is the only truth he said, and this tumor is just pushing, and that's where all the lies are coming from?
So remember how I said that this is much like the movie The Producers?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
did he produce a Broadway show?
he claimed to donors to his campaign that he produced the Broadway musical Spiderman Turn Off the Dark.
What?
Which famously lost $60 million.
You don't gotta pick a
and
good
like
one.
almost killed 3 Spider-Men.
Yeah.
Because like they had to swing and it was so dangerous.
Yeah.
And it was like Bono was a part of it.
Yeah.
But again, he claimed that he was one of the producers of this.
You don't pick one that's bad.
No, but that's what the movie The Producers is about.
I know.
He claimed on Piers Morgan that all of the lying, quote, wasn't about tricking anybody, which is like the point
He's
of
not
lying.
trying to trick you. He's just trying to like really have a cool, fun backstory.
Number 31, he claimed to have made a series of 4-figure donations to local Republican groups and $2,800 to Trump's reelection committee.
Okay.
None of the reports show
Trackable.
him having
Trackable.
paid any of this money.
Trackable.
He just told people he did.
Yeah.
He claimed on an early version of his website that he and his family were engaged in helping children with EB.
What's EB?
EB is epidermolysis bullosa, a rare and serious condition that causes fragile, blistering skin.
Oh, okay.
He claimed that through various nonprofit organizations around the country, they were helping and assisting children. Few organizations actually deal with this rare condition because it's so rare.
Yeah.
And those organizations that do report that none of them have ever fucking heard of George Santos.
Because again, it's like a lot of nonprofits will have open records for who the donors are.
Who the donors are, but also like, even if he was like, well, I at least advocate for it. You know,
Yeah.
I sold some bumper stickers or magnets or whatever. Like, no, we
Yeah.
have no idea. We don't know who you are.
Who are you?
He literally found a rare disease and was like, got it. No one will check. And then they're like, you won the race. So now we're checking.
Now we have to check, guys.
And lastly, and this is just for the lies before we take our first break.
Okay.
He claimed, George Santos claimed, that his niece was kidnapped by the Chinese government, likely in retaliation for his criticisms of the Chinese Communist Party.
Okay, wait. And so the niece has not been recovered from the Chinese government?
It's just straight up a lie. I don't even know if I don't even think he has a niece.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Before we go on break. So this Brazilian podcast, when you're talking about him being on a Brazilian podcast, I started picturing a Brazilian Joe Rogan. And I need you to know that's a funny thought.
Yeah. Brazilian Joe Rogan.
Who's like really into Brazilian jiu-jitsu and is like way better at it than Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he just calls it jujitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid. That's stupid.
I know, I love it.
So
Wait, so the first half was just lies?
that was just the lies.
Is the second half just crimes?
It's mostly scams and crimes.
Nice.
It's scams and crimes, and we'll go into a little bit of his federal charges.
Okay.
But you can see though, like how they just keep layering on each other, and it's like,
Yeah.
what? Why? Just so you guys know, I did find most of this list from a comment on a website, and then went back and tracked a lot of these things to make sure they're accurate. Someone put the list together. I was like, this is amazing. I rearranged it to put all the lies and claims together, and then
This man made a croissant of lies. Just layers.
layers,
Buttery,
on layers.
buttery layers.
When you peel back a George Santos onion.
Baklava of lies.
So when we get back, let's talk about his Wikipedia and GoFundMe shenanigans.
Okay.
And we're back.
Yep.
We're here to talk a little bit more about George Santos, a.k.a. Anthony
If that is
DeValder.
his real name.
Yeah, all those things. So that was the 33 lies and crimes.
Lies
Lies and
Those are just
claims.
lies.
Let's talk about some of his Wikipedia shenanigans. I got 3 of those here.
What do you mean Wikipedia shenanigans?
So he created an editor name for himself
oh my
on
God,
Wikipedia.
Yes.
And the editor name was Anthony DeVolder.
Oh my God, come on. You have to be
This
more...
is where we started to discover like one of the many places where they're like, what is his real fucking name? Because he uses so many fake ones.
Yeah.
He edited his Wikipedia page to claim that he acted in the Disney shows Hannah Montana and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh my God.
He claimed he was a fucking actor.
That's incredible.
Yes.
He's like, I know Miley.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, no, her, I call her Miley. Everyone else calls her Hannah. Like, fucking idiot. He also, on his wiki editing, he stated that he had taped a movie in 2009. Mm-hmm. And that movie was called The Invasion, starring Uma Thurman, Chris O'Donnell, Melissa George, and Alicia Silverstone. Chris O'Donnell was spelled wrong. Alicia Silverstone was spelled wrong.
Perfect.
And Uma Thurman was spelled Uma Thurman.
Well, because if he spelled it right, it would have...
It might have triggered something.
It would have triggered a check.
That movie came out in 2007.
Oh, it's a real movie?
Yeah, there's a movie called The Invasion.
Okay.
It came out in 2007, and it starred Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig.
Oh, well...
So he tried lying and made up a movie and just threw people he knew of in it.
Listen, that's what you do.
Through his editing of his personal wiki,
Yeah.
he has claimed that he worked as a drag queen from the age of 17, and he won several gay beauty pageants. All of these edits were riddled with typos and spelling errors. Now, that part's interesting about the wiki edit, because the one thing I didn't cover up top is one of the few things he has denied is that he's a drag queen.
Yeah, I remember him saying he wasn't.
He's going out of his way repeatedly, and a big part of that is because the people he was grifting alongside with were so anti-drag at the time.
Yeah.
I think that if he came to prominence in 2017,
Yeah.
if he was an early Trump grifter, not a late Trump grifter, I think he would have been out and proud as a drag queen. But I think because the fact that the Don't Say Gay bills and the anti-drag stuff was moving, especially among the Boberts and Greens of the world,
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greens, and they're the loudest, and that was his running crew.
Yeah.
And so since they're all screaming drag queens bad, he pretended he wasn't a drag queen, which weirdly enough seems to be one of the few things in his life he actually liked. He actually liked being a drag queen, and he's terrible at it. He went by the name Katara, which is from Avatar: The Last Airbender, you bitch. Don't ruin her for the rest of us.
Okay, wait. I have questions.
Yes.
Number 1, if you were a drag queen who's about a good time, why would you hang out with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Ew. Get better gal pals. Number 2, did he use his Wikipedia editing to edit other people's pages, like his enemies?
So I didn't see that. It was really just a matter of people went to look at his page.
He did. You can't. I'm never.
No, I know.
He did.
I'm sure he did.
Petty bitch.
I don't have the proof of that.
There's people that went against him in some way, in a small way.
Well, you know what he's doing right now?
What?
Ever since they expelled him,
What?
he's been going on Twitter tirades and screaming about all these different people. He's been outing people.
He's changing their wiki pages right now as we speak.
You know, but he's also changing it though through Twitter. He's going on Twitter and he's posting. He's saying that like a specific female congressman is actually a Republican, is secretly a lesbian.
Okay.
He's saying this one over here is like doing all these different fraud. Like he's listing all their crimes. But the thing is like the crimes he's listing for the most part, minus the outing the one lady.
Yeah.
Everything else are all stuff that's already been alleged.
Yeah.
It's just that right now the spotlight's on George.
He's like, Lindsey Graham. And you're like, we know.
Yeah, I know. But it's the thing is the spotlight's on George. So then George is like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
Oh my God.
Yeah. All while voguing.
I know.
Okay, so let's go into the GoFundMe scams.
All right. This good. We need to hate him again.
Yeah, no, we should. Because I do want to stress this is a bad person.
He's a bad person. I know.
There's
something so funny about creating your own wiki editor.
Well, you know what it is? It's George Santos falls very similar in that same vein as like Courtney Love for me.
Oh, right.
Okay, Courtney Love, trashy bitch who murdered Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have to say allegedly on that one?
No.
Okay.
No, fuck it. She's never gonna hear this. But she murdered Kurt Cobain. I'll say
allegedly.
I'll stand by it.
Prove me wrong.
But at the same time, there were some times there that she was just fun, and you're like, fuck, you'd forget for a minute.
Yeah.
You know.
It was
Same thing with
super
George.
fun when she released that first record from Hole that was really, really good and definitely wasn't all of Kurt's songs.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. It definitely
Because every
wasn't.
album after that was
nowhere
terrible.
nowhere near as good.
Sure.
And then she's like, I'm into acting now. Like, okay, yeah, fine. All right,
Wait, I have a fun fact about Courtney Love.
What? What's your fun fact?
Fun fact. Okay, so I had a friend in high school who sister moved to LA and became a personal assistant. And she was a personal assistant for Courtney Love.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. And like one of her many jobs was like, just like taking care of like her big mansion and all shit. And she had to like go through her like clothes. Like I guess Courtney Love decided one day she wanted like to order like all new clothes. And so this woman was in charge of like just like donating and getting rid of all of these clothes. And she ended up sending her sister back in Philly all of Courtney Love's bras.
Oh.
And my friend had huge boobs and they didn't fit. So she gave them to me. And so for like my senior year of high school, I had Courtney Love bras. Actual Courtney Love
That
bras.
actually is a fun fact.
Yeah.
How have you never mentioned this before?
I don't know. I just thought of it.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
This feels like a Santos lie.
It's not. It's
It
true.
feels like a Santos lie.
I'm not going to say the person's name.
No,
but
I know.
I can fact check myself.
But it's very funny that it does. Doesn't it feel like it though? Like
No,
it's
I was there.
Okay, to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go into the GoFundMe scams. So he started a GoFundMe as Anthony Zabrowski, and he started as a charity, and he falsely claimed that it was a 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay.
No paperwork was ever filed for that. That's just the first scam. He raised $3,000 in a GoFundMe as Anthony DeValder. This was to help a disabled homeless veteran's dog.
Okay, yes. You have kind of
I've
told me
mentioned this
bit.
one repeatedly.
Yeah.
The dog had a tumor.
Okay.
George claimed that this was to raise money for the homeless, disabled veterans' dog's tumor removal.
Okay.
George kept the money and the dog died of cancer. So he killed a homeless, disabled veteran's dog. He started another GoFundMe.
He's got to get off this platform, dude.
This time as Anthony DeValder on behalf of Anthony D. Santos.
Oh, for himself?
Yes, and
Okay.
that's how this was listed on the GoFundMe page. This was, again, to raise thousands of dollars for his mom's funeral expenses.
But they were paid for by the church.
They all ended up on a ski slope in the Poconos.
Oh.
So that's the general.
It's like you keep saying that, and I'm just like, so he's doing cocaine? I don't know.
So that's just the GoFundMe ones on their own. They're just GoFundMe that I could pull out of the list.
Yeah.
So
there could be more. He just used different names, maybe.
maybe he figured out how to use a couple extra ones. So let's get into the general crimes now.
Okay.
Okay. So that was just a fun little aside there.
Oh, yeah,
I have
fun aside.
Fun
The
aside.
guy's dog dying.
Yeah. Well, murdered by George. Yeah. So I have 11 here. Actually 12. Number one is just general lying about campaign finances. Mm-hmm. He didn't fill out a single form properly ever. And like every one of those forms is a federal crime.
Oh, well, was it he didn't fill them out correctly because it was like an accident because he doesn't know how to spell right?
So for number two, he used $4,000 of his campaign funds to pay for Botox and other cosmetic procedures.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm not mad at that.
Number three, he used campaign funds to pay for OnlyFans.
Okay, well, he's helping small business owners.
Small business owners, yeah.
Sure.
Number four, his election campaign listed several people as donors to his campaign.
Okay.
Those people don't exist, including a few who lived at addresses that don't exist either, such as
God.
West Fingerboard Road in New York.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, how illegal is that?
That's very illegal.
Okay.
That's
I figured-
incredibly illegal.
I was like, that's got to be illegal.
Some of his campaign staffers, one of which has already been not only arrested but sentenced, impersonated as staffers for the Speaker of the House at the time, Kevin McCarthy. Mm-hmm. They impersonated Kevin McCarthy's staffers to elicit future campaign donations from other Republican donors.
Okay.
By saying hey, this is Kevin McCarthy's office. I'm this chief of staff. I'm calling because you should give money to George Santos. That one is one of the strange ones because George does have deniability there.
Yeah.
But he's lied about so much shit. Does he have deniability? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At this point, he's committed every fucking crime. That was a really big one. He set up a company.
Wait, I just want to say that I love scamming McCarthy's people.
Oh yeah. No, listen.
that.
Every time he scams other Republicans, I'm like, yes, bitch,
Yeah,
get
sure,
it.
go for
yeah.
it.
But also, remember when we went over to after your grandfather passed, and we were over the house and we were going through mail.
Yeah.
And like realizing how many, just he would get a thing and it would be like, you gotta stop the wokes, and he just mailed him a $10 check.
Oh my God, every time.
Like that's the world George was living in. And again, I want to stress, the only reason he failed is because he won an election.
Yeah.
If he had never won, he would have still been making money. He still would have been probably clearing between 80 to 100 grand a year of just scamming people.
Yeah.
All of these different guys. Same thing with Trump. What always gets them in trouble is actually succeeding at anything.
When the dog catches the car.
100%. He set up a company called the Devolder Organization. Mm-hmm. This is what he claimed on all of his campaign forms is the source of all of his wealth.
Oh, all right.
The address for the Devolder Organization is a closed medical office.
Okay.
So when they pointed that out, the address was then changed to a P.O. box at mailboxes, etc.
Oh, no.
Which, again, is still also not... You have to have a physical address under the Patriot Act.
You
can't do a P.O. box. He told a new hire at his capital office, a man named Derek Myers, that he would work as a, quote, volunteer until his payroll information was processed. That is not how this works.
Yeah, it's not.
He's like, no, you're just a volunteer, and then once we get you processed into payroll, then we'll start paying you. Come work at my office in D.C. It was never processed.
Okay.
Myers then alleged that Santos grabbed his crotch after propositioning him to go out to karaoke.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only one of those that really came up during all of these reads. There isn't too many of those. And then again, this is also from Derek Myers. I don't want to victim shame or any of that stuff. But this is a guy who is like who wants to work for George Santos after knowing who George Santos. This could be a grift on grift.
A grifter grifting.
Yeah, we don't know. It's all, it's all just a series of pyramid schemes.
Yeah.
Again, with the dogs, he bought 2 puppies from an Amish farmer in Lancaster.
But he already has 4.
In Lancaster County, PA.
I know where that is.
Which his assistant quickly spirited away to their car. Mm-hmm. George paid with a check.
Oh, right.
The check was in his own name, George Santos.
Okay.
That check bounced.
Sure.
The dogs were never returned. So he stole dogs.
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb on this one.
From a puppy mill.
From a puppy mill?
Yeah, he stole dogs from a puppy mill.
Because people that aren't from Pennsylvania, the area that they're talking about is Lancaster.
A lot of Amish.
Is known for have Amish puppy mills because Amish people don't believe that animals have like souls or whatever, so they don't really take care of them.
They view dogs as farm animals, and so they don't care about dogs being treated any differently.
Like humanely isn't like a thing. So it's well known in the state or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that it's any type of puppy you buy because again, buying dogs, but buying a puppy from Lancaster specifically, you're likely getting a dog that's like really probably abused and neglected. So theoretically, if he scams a puppy mill, I don't know if I'm actually upset. Because did he not just rescue those dogs?
Yeah.
Did he rescue those dogs?
Now, the thing is,
did he Peter Pan the? Not Peter Pan.
He then sold
Robin Hood.
He then, I believe, sold them again.
Oh, come on!
Like that's the thing. Is like I believe he then sold. I think he sold them again.
Oh no!
I don't have it in this note, but I remember reading this before.
I was trying so hard.
He allegedly kited other checks in Pennsylvania, which is a federal crime.
Yeah. Who's taking checks?
He was charged with theft by deception by the York County DA's office. Though the case was dismissed after Santos claimed that the checks were actually stolen from him.
Oh, okay.
So Santos wrote bad checks.
checks.
No, Santos wrote bad checks. He knew they didn't have money in them. He received the goods.
Yeah.
And then he also was trying. There's this thing in check kiting. It's what you do is what you take money and move it between banks and then write checks and be like, no, there's money there for it. And like, yes, when you wrote the check, there was money in that account.
Yeah.
But you've already moved it to another account. So then the check bounces. And it's an old move that grifters used to do. Most places it doesn't happen as much anymore because everyone just uses debit cards or Venmo or whatever. Yeah. It's a much faster way to do it. But he claimed that, oh no, my checkbook was just stolen, and whoever did that was, it's like, but George, you were going to the bank and moving it. You're the one who was logging online.
Incredible.
But again, the judges and like the DA, they're like, it's
in York County, PA.
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
They're looking around. They're like, what are we talking about? $2,000 here? We're really going to spend fucking 18 hours to put away this guy for this? Like, no, let's go back to the other thing. So yeah, so that tied with the dog stuff. He clearly did that. He applied for and received $24,000 in unemployment benefits, including COVID relief in 2020, while he was running for office, and he continued that again in 2021 while he was still employed, making $120,000 a year through his official organizations on his campaign finance reports.
Okay, so he
claimed he was unemployed to the state of New York and the federal government, got COVID money, got $24,000 across 2 years, while also making $120,000
by being employed by the state of New York.
On paper, by being employed by the DeVolder organization, which he claims exists but doesn't actually exist.
Got it.
That he then also claimed on all of his campaign forms was paying him this money. So which form is he lying on?
One of them.
Exactly. He's backed himself into a fucking corner, but also he saw free money. So this was continued, the weird campaign contribution stuff continued in 2022. He received through a phony PAC, political action committee called Redstone Strategies, LLC.
All right.
Which had two managers, one of which was DeVolder Organization,
God damn
LLC.
it.
That he claimed was a 501c4 company, but he never registered with the IRS. As such, he laundered contributions through his personal banking accounts.
Oh, my God.
And then he used them to pay down his personal debts, buy designer clothing, and give money to his associates.
Oh, my God.
And the last one...
We're already at the last one?
This is the last one of all that. This is technically 52.
Oh, my God.
Didn't have this in the list. So when he was expelled on the other day,
Yeah.
when he was being expelled from Congress, another congressman came forward and was like, y'all, he grifted me and my mom.
What?
Yeah, so basically, at some point, I guess they had donated money to his campaign. George stole a lot of people's credit card information.
Shut the fuck up.
And so he stole people's identities and he ran up their credit card bills for like thousands of dollars. And so this congressman had to come, who I think is another New York congressman, I don't have the name right in front of me, but he had to go out and like hire lawyers and do chargebacks and has been like reporting the fraud through like Visa or MasterCard or American Express, whatever. Like he's trying to get the money back. And like George Santos was almost not expelled from Congress. Like they almost didn't have enough votes.
Oh my God.
But George himself grifted so close to the sun
You don't grift
that
what you
he
eat.
pushed himself over the limit. Because you need a 2/3 majority.
Yeah.
It's 290 out of 435 people who don't agree on anything.
Yeah.
All right. Usually you need like, was it like 212 or 213 to get the fucking majority? You need 290. And they were like, yo, fuck this dude.
Yeah.
Who did it? When I was reading it, was like, I can't remember the guy's last name. I don't want to say what the last name was because I don't have it. But like, it's also one of those wild things because my mom mentioned it to me. She's like, these fuckers, like it only matters to it when it happens to them. Because before this moment, before we found this out on Thursday, a few months ago, it came out that he had done this to tens, if not hundreds of people.
Yeah.
So these guys can stand next to this dude, have coffee with this dude, fucking go to fundraisers with this dude, knowing he did this.
Yeah.
But then he did it directly to them, and they're like, you can't trust him.
Yeah, exactly.
So what the fuck? So yeah, that's the list of the general ones. He is currently facing 23 charges in federal court. The first 13 counts came on May 9th, 2023. They include money laundering, theft of public funds, making material false statements to the House of Representatives.
Yep. Okay.
On May 10th, they were unsealed. 5 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of money laundering, 2 more counts of wire fraud, and a count of stealing public funds, and 2 counts of making false statements.
Damn.
That's on just the first one. And then they came back again on October 10th and hit him with 10 more charges.
Yeah.
And that's when we start getting into the identity theft. 1 count of conspiracy to commit offensive against the United States of America.
All right.
2 more counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of aggravated identity theft, and 1 count of device access fraud, all relating to making the charges on his donors' credit cards, and 2 more counts of making materially false statements to the FEC, and 2 counts of falsifying records submitted to obstruct the FEC, which is the Federal Election Commission.
Yeah.
Both of these are related to his campaign's financial state, specifically inflating campaign record receipts with non-existent loans and campaign donations that either didn't exist or were straight up stolen.
Man, I really hope, and I know it's like that. I don't want, you don't want to pile on, but I'm saying this is a lot of credit card stuff. This is a lot of mixing it up in the bank lines.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, when are we going to find out about the mail?
Oh,
Because
he definitely
when
committed
the
mail fraud.
postal inspectors get involved,
Yeah.
oh, buddy.
So
But let me tell you, those grandmas sending in those $10 checks, okay, you frauded them. The postmaster general is going to come in.
So here's the thing. A lot of people are worried whether or not he'll run back to Brazil because he lived in Brazil for years.
Okay.
And he committed fraud down there.
Do they extradite?
They don't extradite, but I don't know about that. You talking about they extradite back to here?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I have to look into that. I'm not really up on my international law right now.
Okay, well.
But the thing is like there are still charges floating out there that could possibly be put against him in Brazil. Perfect. Do you know what I mean? And like he's such an embarrassment to Brazil that I think at this point, if he fled to there, it would become a whole thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like he can't flee to Cuba.
Nope.
Because like he's come out so hard against communism, and that's where. Listen.
Here we go. An extradition treaty between the United States and Brazil was signed on January 13th, 1961, and implemented on February 11th, 1965.
There you go.
So he can go there. They'll send him back.
Yeah. Well, he could tie it up for a bit though. He could flee to Brazil. It could take a couple years.
Yeah.
I just don't think I think the thing is he's been grifting so hard, so fast, so loose.
I don't
think he has any savings.
Yeah. Oh no.
I don't think there's any money set aside.
No, but his skin smooth.
Oh my God.
Lips plumped.
He actually does. That's the part that's kind of crazy is when you look at images of him, he has gotten better looking.
Yeah, he's been
like
spending that money.
he's got the hair done.
Yeah, he got the hairline
He definitely
done.
got the hairline done a little bit. He's definitely had Botox. Like, obviously, we literally have the receipts.
Yeah.
But like his skin does look better because
Yeah,
again,
he's got the best creams from Sephora.
it's right around the eyes because like when you get the closer you can get to those evil eyes of his, those little grifting
Little
eyes,
dark
that's
shark
where you
eyes.
start to see the cracks.
Yep.
But everything until the eyes is like smooth as a fucking baby's bottom.
Yeah. He's using the best La Mer creams.
Oh my God.
That's the thing is, and it wouldn't be so annoying if every time he was interviewed he wasn't so joyful. Like he's having the best time.
Oh my God. There's an interview with him where he's like, I just found out what OnlyFans is. And like, and the person interviewer is like, you fucking liar. Like everyone is like, why? But that's the thing though. I just wanted to point out that he's a pathological liar because he's a con man. He's a grifter, all these other things. There are so many things in here where it gets to a point where I don't believe he actually knows how to tell the truth anymore.
Yeah.
I think this is his whole thing. Whether or not, I don't want to play psychologist on any other part of that, where that comes from. But from every interview I've seen with him, everything, it's like comical.
That's what I mean. It's very silly.
It's so insane.
Yeah.
And are there worse members of Congress? Yes.
Yes. Menendez, get him out.
Yes. Are there many people who should be expelled from Congress?
Yes.
Yes. 100%. Did this bitch go so far that even they were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're at with
You can't
this.
shit where you eat. You cannot be scamming the people that you work with your coworkers.
Yeah.
Unless you're in nursing, because then you can grift them into your MLM.
Yeah, you can. If you're a nurse, I'm a nurse, made a difference. But yeah, no, that's just how that all kinds of comes together.
I love this story. I like that we don't know how it's going to end. It's
I know how it
still
ends.
happening right now.
I think I know how it ends. He's gonna go to federal jail for a very long time.
I think you're wrong. I would bet.
I
think that he's going to go to federal jail for not that long a time. He's going to go for less time than the Tiger King, and he's going to make content just like Tiger King does from jail.
I think he's
going to come out and he's going to be semi-famous and get on a reality show.
I think he's gonna get 10 years.
Flavor Flav style.
I think he's gonna get at least 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the people he's fucked over are rich and powerful enough that it will stick. I think they're like screwing over like the grandparents of the world. Doesn't matter. Fucking over sitting congressmen and embarrassing them the way that he did by standing next to them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw it. There's a clip on TikTok from C-SPAN of the moment they read the final results.
Yeah.
And you see him and he's like, well, and like he's like turning to like he's kind of near like some guys who were kind of in leadership, like in the one crazy people caucus of Republicans. He's there by like Byron Donaldson and a few other guys, and like they won't look at him Like the second the hammer comes down, he's like, bye. And like you see them like, oh yeah, look at, like they pretend like they're like, oh, look at that light bulb up there. They all instantly are like trying to not.
Fucking high schoolers.
It's so crazy. But I'm saying like and from the Congress people I've talked to, like the rage towards Santos in particular, because the biggest thing he did is he exposed all of their grifts.
Yeah.
And that's the crime.
He brought the spotlight in.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
Because he's a good drag queen.
He's a fucking...
He brought the spotlight to the stage.
Yep.
He produced the show.
Here's the thing is I think that he can try once he's out to go on the apology tour. I don't
think he's going to apologize for anything.
I don't think he is either, but I think that's going to leave him like just such a toxic little availability.
Yeah, he's going to be...
Again, I said it before, Mass Singer is like the top.
He's going to be Omarosa.
No, but Omarosa had connections to still play. Omarosa now, maybe.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's going to end up like Omarosa now.
Yeah.
But not...
being dressed down by New York.
Woo! Listen, I love it.
Anyway, that's been our episode. That's been our season.
That's been our season. Oh my God, it's so crazy.
I know.
We've been doing this for an entire year. Many hours.
I've
had so much fun.
Yeah.
I've talked a lot about food.
And now in a little over a week, we'll be parents. And
gross.
I know.
That's crazy.
It's so wild.
It's so weird to think about.
But Mrs. P.
Yeah.
I want to say it's been a delight.
It's been a really fun time.
When we get divorced, it's going to be weird. Because we'll keep doing the show.
We're going to keep doing the podcast for sure.
Yeah, people like the podcast aspect.
We're not going to stop the podcast because we're getting divorced.
No, but
we're just business partners then.
I am very excited for...
That's like The Rock and his wife. Did you know that?
What?
The Rock.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson
yes.
and his wife got divorced, but then they're still business partners.
His first wife, I think.
Yeah.
First or second. I can't remember. They stayed business partners.
Exactly.
I think she was like, wasn't she like his agent or manager or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, no, we're going to mirror that
Kris
one.
Jenner the fuck out of this situation.
I don't give a fuck.
You're going to make money for mama.
I think that's the best way to end 2023 for this season. So to all of our listeners, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all of those things.
Yeah.
To our Patreons, double Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Double Happy Hanukkah. Y'all have made this possible. You really have, between you guys and everyone following us across all forms of social media, have really changed our lives in 2023. We're excited to add one more life who will never be on this podcast ever. But with that, Mrs. P, final words.
Have a great holiday season. Relax, rejuvenate, and we'll see you next year.
We'll see you guys in 2024. And hopefully by then, Blue Chew will finally answer the fucking phone.